Okay, let's see. Okay.
Live. We're
Hello,
live.
everyone. We are
Finally.
live. Finally, we've made it, and we're on time. You'll probably hear some clattering of my old school printer in the background, printing off questions. And so, first of all, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone so much to my channel. And of course, does this lovely lady here need any introduction? Dr. Lena Rodriguez, kind of sage of down under.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I've been propping myself up on coffee for the last 2 hours. So if I become a babbling idiot, you can cut my mic. Yeah.
Not to worry at all. I mean, and I've been so looking forward to this. So I just wanted to say thank you for putting out your content and stuff on your channel. I've really enjoyed your channel, and in many ways I think you've been the voice of sanity and reason for so many people around the world, because it has been, as I would say, cra cra, not even cray cray,
Yeah,
cra
right.
cra. So what are your opinions before we get stuck in and we pull some tarot? And I've managed to print off the questions just in
Oh, you're a
time.
hero.
No problem. How do you feel about the global situation now and what is going on in the world? Just how does Lena feel
Oh,
about it from your social
I feel like I'm
anthropology?
on CNN. Where do we start?
Mm,
Well, look, the world is at once the tiniest it's ever been, is it
yeah,
not? And we're in the
yeah.
shared pain of, a pandemic. But I think what's interesting is there's been this pushback from globalization of everyone embracing the world to going
Mhm.
into this narrow-minded, me first America, and of
Yeah.
course, masterclass in lunacy, which is Brexit. And
Oh.
so there's this push-pull between the global and
Mhm.
the really narrow-minded, small c conservative, absolute dreary, if
Yeah.
nothing. I think that's a crime.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
dreariness cannot be forgiven.
Yeah, yeah. It's been remarkable. Just some of the sea changes that we've seen, and of course, I'm a big fan of tarot, as you probably guessed, and I've been quietly just been doing tarot for years actually, and just for a long time. But the main thing has been the astrology, and look, we've got the comments coming in. So I
Oh,
just want to
thank
say
you for
hello
being
to
so
everyone.
patient, people.
Yes, thank you for being so
We
patient,
all got
everyone.
the time wrong several times. Yeah.
Because this is the thing. I mean, when we're dealing with these time zones, America and Australia, huge time difference. I'm sort of in the middle, so I just want
Yeah.
to say thanks to everyone for being here.
Yeah.
And you know what, Lena, you're absolutely right. There has been so much, and particularly as well from like the astrological perspective as well. And one of the
Mm.
things I think you will find interesting, and something I talk about a lot, is that we need to talk about planet Saturn before we get stuck in on a bit of
Oh,
tarot. Now, what
yes.
is Saturn all about? Saturn is known, my nickname for Saturn is Balloon Popper. Everyone who watches my channel knows this. Yeah, Balloon Popper. He goes like that. Pop, pop, pop. Yeah.
You're having
And
fun. Off with your head.
indeed, indeed. So he's known as the separating force, but he's also known as the restrictive force of life. Mars is the accelerator, Saturn is the brakes.
Mm.
And therefore, by default, it makes him the planet of what? Lockdown.
Ah, of course. I hadn't thought of that, not being an astrologer.
Right. So he's the
Yes.
planet of lockdown. And he's sidereally, he's in his own signs at the moment. So when a planet's in its own signs, it becomes very strong.
Mm.
So Saturn is in sidereal Capricorn,
Mm-hmm.
and he rules Aquarius, because I'm a sidereal astrologer. And guess what? He went in to sidereal Capricorn in January 2020.
Yes. Yes.
All
When
the
does he leave?
lockdowns.
When does he leave?
We've got a little ways yet. Let me just double check. He will leave. I think it's on the 20. Where is it? It will be on the 29th of April, 2022. He goes into Aquarius.
Oh dear, that's a long time to wait.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of time to but
We're
so
going
there
to
we
have
are.
to all start learning French or playing guitar chords or something by then. And God knows what the hair will look like. Small children will run in fright when they
So I mean, it's so Saturn also represents governments. So this is why we're seeing such churn,
upheaval.
tumult, upheaval in government and infrastructure projects and stuff like that. So that gives you, and we'll sprinkle in a little bit more astrology as we go in. But
Please.
shall we
Yeah.
tackle? We'll tackle a quick question. I'll just do a quick hello. So there's someone here called Eddie saying hello. Georgie Moon, Jennifer
Hi,
Campbell Klumps.
hi,
That's quite
Jennifer. I
interesting.
read for Jennifer a couple of
Oh,
years
did
ago now.
you? Ah, she's here.
Blessings.
So indeed. So let's look at some questions here. Now we're doing this a little bit on the fly, but Lena and I, we're pros, and we love a bit of just flying by the seat of the pants type stuff.
That's lucky.
So let's
Frankly,
see.
we haven't got a clue. We had this plan and the plan blew out the window.
It went completely out of the window. So here's
50
one.
Shades of Purple. What a great name.
Oh, that's fantastic. Love that. Love that. So I've just picked out one here. Now, this has come from Susanna Guerra, and this was a couple of days ago, and she's put here, will Mitch McConnell ever face consequences for his evilness during his years in Congress? That's a good one, isn't it? Let me just put a
Let's have
circle
a
around
go
that.
at Mitch
Let's
McConnell.
have a go.
So
Mitch
for those
McConnell.
who aren't familiar with American politics intimately, as we have been forced to be, he's Dr. No, right? He is in charge of the GOP in terms of what gets put forward to be voted on. And he has said on more than one occasion, I'm going to kill every bill the Democrats put forward. So there's a bipartisan hero for you. Awesome.
Yeah.
We pretend these countries are democracies, but they're not. They're not. They're playgrounds for people like Mitch McConnell.
Indeed. And if anything, like you just said, he should be called almost like Kill Bill from that Tarantino,
Kill
really.
Bill.
He's like the male version of Uma Thurman when it comes to kind of.
That's perfect. And before we go any further, if there's new viewers, for 4 years I've been referring to Trump as the Yeti, and Hogarth has come up with Duck L'Orange. So in the course of this broadcast, you may hear these terms. Okay.
Yes, indeed. Duck L'Orange. Okay, so Lena, you are my guest, so of course you will go first. What cards do you pull? I'm going to pull 5, and you pull as many as you want.
I'll pull 4, and I'm using the Russian deck, which are particularly good for these hideous people. I never use them for normal readings.
Do you know what I might do is I'm going to start with the classic, of course, Rider-Waite. But you know what? I might go a bit Egyptian on this one, because again, sometimes you just need extra cards. So I'll do 3 as a pullout, and then I'll do some clarifiers. I'll go Egyptian, and I'll join you with a bit of exotic.
Why not?
Mitch McConnell.
Okay. Well, we'll motor through because I think we'll have a lot of questions.
Indeed.
So let's kick off with the mighty Mitch McConnell. And, it's hard to get used to these back-the-front cameras. I'm left-handed and it really doesn't work. So here is Mitch. How can I get this closer to you guys? There we go.
There you go.
I'll work it out by the end of the broadcast. Unfinished business, right, with these Russian cards. He's not dead yet, therefore America has a problem. The pen is mightier than the sword. So suspect behind the scenes, this is, if you like, not signing bills. But the other meaning, I think, with this card is that things are going to be written about Mitch McConnell. And even though he could be the most boring man in the world, although I'll say second because there's always someone more boring, he's up there. And I think someone's going to write an expose, which could involve his profiteering wife.
Yes.
In the meantime, he's going to keep going somewhere in the back room and then come out for ribbon cutting, just occasionally when we think he's passed away and it's all over. No, Mitch is going to turn up and snip a few more ribbons. But behind the scenes, the burden is getting
too great.
The burden is getting very, very great for him. And the card to finish on, he could be rocketing out of Dodge. All of a sudden, I think he's going to go on another year, another 2 years, and then suddenly
what I was thinking.
The horses are going to take off.
Yeah.
That's what I think with Mitch.
Absolutely. I would agree with that as well. I feel like he's going to be this lingering smell. You know when someone breaks wind in the lift?
Yes.
It's like he's like that with the GOP and with Congress. He's going to be this lingering smell for a while, and then suddenly someone will open the doors, and like you said with your card, something will bolt out.
Yeah, now, I don't see him in jail, unfortunately, but yeah.
Me neither. I think he's too cunning for that, but there's definitely stuff, of course, with the wife. So what did I get? So when we're talking about Mitch McConnell, so here we are, we've got the Page of Swords here, and we understand as well that the swords deal with the mind, don't they? They deal with the mind, deal with the intellect. And if there's one thing that Mitch certainly is, it's certainly cunning. He's certainly cunning. And here, so in a way, like we can sort of interpret this card as someone who's literally kind of almost like swashbuckling. I often find when it comes to the GOP, it's often even better to literally just read the picture as is, because they're often so kind of two-dimensional, if you know. So this is Mitch for years who's been swashbuckling, using his intellectual skills with the GOP to kind of get his own way. He's swift and he's very agile in that sense. But then also as well, there is this element where I feel like because it is a page after all, and really, when we're thinking about Mitch McConnell, we should be seeing something like the King of Swords or the Emperor or something like that. But really,
so it could be a younger person interfering.
Potentially, yes. Oh, of course. And there are some new people in the GOP. I mean, this could even be a certain Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I call Leaky Douchebag Blowhard on my channel, but that's the name that she's got. So there's this element here where we know he has been swashbuckling, doing so many moves, and again, it's almost like that sword. It's like he's trying to cut the Democrats' agenda to ribbons.
Yeah.
But then when we look, what do we have? Look, we've got this element here of, in terms of what's crossing it, of walking away. At some point, Mitch is going to have to call it a day. He can't go on forever. He can't go on forever. And there is this element. It came for me, it came kind of reversed. So where I often interpret reverse cards as, they're not always necessarily worse, but they're certainly more introspective. So in respect of his running around and all that stuff, I think even for Mitch, he's like, the wins aren't looking so good. And when we look at the outcome card, look at that. That's him battling. That's him battling, trying to defend. Yeah, trying to defend a position. So there's that element there. And the two clarifiers that I got, the Egyptian ones, we got here. We've got the Fool, which is a bit spooky because the person who gave me this deck said it looks a bit like me. And I have to confess, there is a resemblance there. And then we've got, oh, I'm going backwards as well. Oh, there we
Yeah.
are. Then we've got the Queen of Swords. But the Queen of Swords was reversed, and the Fool
Wow.
was reversed. So, as we know, the Fool, the right way up, is about exploring new ventures, isn't it? Going forth with innocence and, trying new things. But when it's reversed, it can mean what? Being foolish, foolhardy,
Mhm.
hesitating. And the Queen of Swords, that speaks to me to maybe this is Mitch's wife. I
Elaine
think,
Chow,
I think it's
who's
Elaine
made
Chow.
tens of millions of dollars in Kentucky or wherever it is they hang out, selling transport deals with her people back in China. And the FBI started an investigation and
Wow.
then stopped it under the corrupt DOJ.
Wow.
Someone asked in the question, is the FBI, are they quietly investigating Mitch's election? Well, I hope so. We mightn't get to that tonight, but I hope so. I'll follow it up on my channel if we don't.
I certainly hope so, yes. And this card, it came out reversed, yes. So we know, isn't it interesting? Because we know the Queen is swords are intellectual. So the Queen is a smart, bright, intellectual woman. Yeah. So we know that his wife is intelligent.
Absolutely.
And she's been very strategic. We can't speculate necessarily what she married Mitch for, but let's just say the power was appealing. Let's put it that way.
It wasn't his body, let's be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't for looks. And this Queen of Swords is reversed. So when she's reversed, this is where the Queen can even become a bit vindictive. There can be an element there of temper, the sharpness. And I will just share this with you. Cruelty. And when I looked at Mitch's astrological chart, his seventh house, which represents the spouse, had a very cruel combination. At that time, I had no idea who the wife was. I looked at his chart and I said, whoever is his spouse, I said, they are a piece of work.
She's a number. She is a number.
Yeah. And I'm going to just speculate on this with you because, Brits and Aussies together are a little bit of a naughty combination. And do you remember when Mitch had that weird bruising on his body? Do you remember that?
No. When was that?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So viewers, if anyone remembers this, there was this time where literally last year, maybe it was around September, October last year, and he had all of this bruising. Do you remember on his arm?
I do remember now.
He looked a bit like roadkill. Yeah. He looked a bit like roadkill.
And that's actually a defense injury.
A defense. And you know what I thought? When I saw his chart, I was like, ooh, I wonder if there might have been a bit of domestic that went on.
She could be a plate thrower. Yeah.
I think so. Probably with one or two vases as well, and crockery and other bits and bobs. So, there you are. So
you heard it here first. I mean, really.
Heard it here first. Now let's see. Let's go on to the next. Let's see. What do we write here? Because obviously I just printed off, and let's see what the next question is, which I should have kind of highlighted in advance, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on here. Where are the questions? Oh, here we are. Here's one.
Yeah.
So, do you foresee Trump 45 being indicted or jailed in the future? Now, obviously, we've looked at this a lot as at questions. So it says here, only a few readers say he will see jail, prison, and are very adamant that yes, he will. A few others say no, they don't see it. What do you say, Hogarth and Lena? So what do we think?
I'll leave it to you, because I'm on the record for saying often I don't see him going to jail. Malheureusement. I do see him in an upmarket facility. In other words, he'll either go gaga or he'll claim to be gaga, and he'll be put in some sort of resort that where the key doesn't work in the lock, you know.
Do you know what? I was thinking things similar, and many of my viewers will know this, but I did a 4-part mini-series on Trump back in the summer, and it's well worth a look. And I think I used sound introductions from Dynasty or something like that. It's a bit tongue in cheek,
Yeah,
but it's worth a look because I look at these things, and
I don't doubt he's going to be indicted over and over and over and over. That's not the issue. That'll be worth the price of admission, watching him squirm. But I don't see jail at the end of that. Indeed. What about you?
Indeed. All right, I'll have a pull. What I saw him faking either having a genuine illness or faking one to get out of jail. And I think putting on the trousers back to front
is for 3 years.
Part of it. It's part of it. But I'll do a quick 3-card pull.
You do a quick 3-carder.
Let's see. What's going on with Trumpy Trump? Dr. Orange. I love the Yeti, by the way. I think it's the best one. Because he really is a Yeti.
Doesn't he look the part?
Oh, this is fascinating.
Oh wow, what have you got?
Well, you go first. You're
No, I've said my piece. I'm not
okay, no problem.
Yeah,
all
you
right.
go for it.
You'll love this. So here we are. First card is the Chariot reversed. Yeah.
Going nowhere.
In his tracks, going nowhere. Yeah. This is old Trumpy Trump, Dr. Orange coming down like a bad smell to those people that want to get married and have funerals at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, who knew? I mean, why isn't he selling crockery? He may as well be selling crockery and, dinner services. And you've probably seen on TV, these people are getting married or they're having some kind of service. And he wanders in after golfing and starts talking. But really, what this means is all of his forward momentum has stopped. He's going nowhere.
Yes.
It's like he's in a Rolls Royce with flat tires. Yeah, nothing's going on. Nothing's going on. And then when we see what's the obstacle, look at that. 4 of Swords laying flat again. This is about rest, recuperation, taking it easy, having to recover. So he's in this kind of element of stasis at the moment. He's still trying to pretend to be fabulous, isn't he? Isn't it funny when we tune in with Trump? It's like everything is just in a holding pattern. He's like, it's almost like, are they going to arrest me? Aren't they going to arrest me? He's got the stuff, the litigation piling up underneath the letterbox, through the letterbox, but it's kind of still. And then if we look, what is it about? The enemy camp, but trying to get away with something. But what this suggests is, because it's reversed, maybe that's reached its culmination where Trump can no longer keep getting away with things. I often find with the GOP, you can just read that card as it is. And there we are. So I feel like...
you just go back to the 4 of Swords for a second. The thing about the 4 of Swords too, if the person gets up, they're going to be pierced by 3 swords if they rush to get up. When it's nice, it's retreat, but that's the other side. So every time he puts his head over the parapet of Mar-a-Lago, boom.
Yeah. And I get this sense that, I mean, apparently is he in New Jersey now? I forget, because he was in Mar-a-Lago and then he moved to New Jersey and was like, for some whatever reason. But I think he's just in a state of this kind of paralysis, this kind of redundancy, and everything is happening around him, but he is no longer shaping the narrative as well as he would like, especially with this thing about being reinstated by that woman, who is it, Sidney Powell, who I call Queen of the Kraken.
Queen of the Kraken. I read on her, I mentioned her today. I describe her as Marie Antoinette on Xanax. She's a nutcase.
She is.
Her legal
Yes.
defense was, who would believe the lies I talk about? Who'd believe my lies? That was her legal defense for lying.
I mean, how that doesn't get you just struck off for life for sheer incompetence, I don't know.
They
I think
must
it's
give out law
remarkable.
degrees in cereal boxes. Can someone from the States please confirm or deny this theory I have? The people who turn up as lawyers, truly, it's staggering to me.
I mean, it's remarkable, isn't it? It's remarkable. So I've got another question here that I've managed to identify. So, and
Well
this
done.
is a good one. This is a good one. This has come from Marilyn Kissinger, and she has written, "Will Putin flip on Dr Larange on the Yeti because of the Anom app?" Do you remember there was this big FBI bust? Do you know about this story? Oh, I'll mention.
Remind me.
The FBI recently pulled an absolute blinder. And what they did was they did a global arrest of about 800 people, yeah, in that ballpark. And what they did was they managed to infiltrate these international drugs, gangs, laundering, and all this stuff. And the long and short of it is that these people use these specially commissioned phones that are not traceable.
Mm-hmm.
And what the FBI did, they created their own app called Anom, where they could share this information without it being traced. And they managed to win the confidence of the top drug lords and criminal lords of the
Right.
world. So they were exchanging all this information, and they said it was one of the best insights they ever had. Yeah, because they were just saying, right, I want this quantity of drugs here, that quantity of drugs there, that person needs to die, we need to do a hit on that one. Or they showed pictures of all the drugs stuffed in fruit and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And they thought they were on the criminal equivalent of encrypted WhatsApp, and it was being run by the FBI.
Oh, so they thought they were on the dark net.
Yeah.
Saying it all, and it was an FBI sting.
Yeah, it was an FBI sting being run by the FBI. So now what they're saying is some of the Yeti's friends may be implicated.
Oh, well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, what are we looking at with Putin?
So what the question was, will Putin flip on the Yeti because of these revelations of that Anom app? So let's have a little
look. Well, I'll obviously continue to use the Russian cards for Putin. I do love these cards. They have a certain curious stuff to them.
And I love your circus deck as well, is great. All right.
On this Anom, it's called Anom.
Yeah? Anom, yeah. Anom. Clever name as well, because of course it's like anonymous when it wasn't. Let's have another look.
Let's have a look.
How many cards are you going for on this one? You're going to do 3 or are you going to go 5? Okay, I'll do 5 as well.
Well, can I go?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. In the middle. Oh, this camera. Check this out, beautiful people. Look at that image. That's how Putin's feeling about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the King of Swords. You wouldn't want to be in his shoes at night, I tell you.
Wow. Wow.
Behind it is the tower, the conventional tower, which is where everything is catastrophic. There's a mystery woman. Now, this woman, I would suggest, is more likely to be, it could be a top FBI agent or a top Russian agent who's brokering a deal on behalf of Putin to try and get him out of the caca. I think Russian cards, Russian woman, I think she's got this role.
Yeah.
And then the Five of Swords, which is ruthlessness, winning at any price and all of that. But this is his immediate future.
My goodness.
Don't you love this? And the world is watching.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I think to answer the question, no, I don't think it's about that heel flip on Trump. I don't think, because it's so big, I don't think it's one person by one person. This is international, but I think it is going to have world impacts as it unfolds that we don't know about yet. But I don't think, personally, that's my take, I don't think he'll flip on Trump.
Right, fascinating. And I've written my card. You're just going to laugh when you see my cards, because in a way it's almost like I don't even see Putin here. I see it being about Trump again. I'm seeing about being Trump again. And I've written down a couple of questions that I saw in the comments. So, of course, everyone, thanks so much for keep the comments going. And just saying a hello to Carmen. And we've got Joy Rico, Harry's mum, 2008. And Dina Donatelli. What a name. What a name.
Fabulous name.
So, in regards to this question, will Putin flip on the Yeti because of Anon? And really, very much just like what you were saying, Lena, it's in a way, it's not even so much about Putin in that sense of Putin, almost like a James Bond baddie in a way, is doing his job, which is to what? Foil his enemy. The issue is that he's being helped by certain members of you-know-what. So when we look at this context, the first card I pick up here is Justice. And I sort of, when I think of this question, I think of not only the Yeti's interaction with Putin, but the GOP as a whole, because they've all fraternized. And you're probably familiar with this word in Russia, which is called kompromat.
Oh, yes. We all learned about kompromat, didn't we, at the time?
Kompromat. Absolutely. So it's, it's a classic thing. You invite a few US senators over to a hotel or whatever for some entertainment. Yeah, a little bit of champagne, maybe some blinis or something like that. And then, one thing leads to another. And then before you know it, someone is pressing a record button in a dark room somewhere because everything's been set up. And I think this is why the GOP are so compromised. But there is an element of justice coming in here. The law stepping forward, but about what? The money that's been changing hands overseas.
Yes.
I mean, it couldn't be more literal than that, could it? How many times does this card come up? And then we look here, there's more. Development. We have the 10 of Wands, and we all know this is about burdens. This is about burdens, and if it's the right way up, this is a person who's carrying a burden who could basically put it on his shoulders and at least try and carry that weight more efficiently. Here, it's all over the shop, yeah? The sticks are all over the place, and it might reach a point where the sticks are just going to have to be dropped because they can't be, this narrative can't be carried anymore. There's going to be something that's going to happen. The sticks are going to drop in regards to GOP and the connections with Russia. What is it about? The American people, yeah? The American people, but we also know that this is can also be a card for Dr Lena, yeah? The Yeti, always wanting that, attention and stuff like that. So all of this eventually is going to be in the spotlight in terms of how Russia has kind of turned things upside down in the United States, yeah? Because what they've been doing all these cyber attacks, aren't they? So when it's this way, we know America is feeling confident, rejuvenated, after coming out. It's like this is America trying to get out of the whole situation with COVID and stuff and basically revive itself, self-love coming back. But in this context, it's reversed. Russia has been doing all of these, let's say, Russian-supported hacks on America. Have you noticed there's been a lot of them? A lot. But the last card I get here is, look.
You've got the Tower too, yeah.
Got the Tower as well. So this is leading to a Tower moment. And I am, in regards to Putin and America, I think they're going to go for some big cyber. I think big cyber. What do you reckon?
Well, yeah, because cyber's cheap by comparison. You know, for a few mil, you can get a team of Romanian hackers or whatever who are really skilled, you know, in the basement, and it's much cheaper than a war, you know.
Yeah.
And they're going for it.
Yeah.
And we're all vulnerable, I think, globally,
yeah.
you know, to it.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's in a messy spy game.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think any country's got a clean set of hands. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. As we know with what's his name, who's now living in Russia, who was exposed
Edward Snowden.
Yeah, Snowden, about the snooping. And then of course we also have the DOJ implicated in, like you covered in your video, snooping on the Democrats. So there's electronic espionage is everywhere. The nodes of the moon at the moment are going through Taurus and Scorpio. Scorpio is all about intrigues, espionage, conspiracy theories, things coming out of the dark. And the nodes of the moon set fate and destiny. So there we are. All right. So another question that came in, and I think you'll find this quite interesting. It's a bit of a juicy one. And the question is simple. I don't know who posed it because the screen went past too quick. But is Melania having an affair?
Oh, yeah. I don't even need the cards. I said love. I said pet. She's been having it off with the gardener or the pool boy or, you know, one of the security agents for as long as we can remember. I mean, she wouldn't be waiting for the Yeti to come home, would you? You wouldn't be waiting for him to put on his pajamas and to be inspired. No. No. So my answer, without cards, call me psychic.
I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, what an unappealing thought. I mean, I'm amazed at how many people, you know, Trump actually bedded, because when I just think of this, imagine for Melania, you know, this person darkening the doorway and, you know, fiddling with the paper, with the safety pin on his diaper.
Don't.
I mean, come on. I mean, So I hope there's a personal trainer there somewhere, but I'll pull a few cards just for.
But you know what? She chose him. You know, of all the unattractive, bullying rich men in the world that she could have chosen, she chose the Yeti. Do I have any sympathy for Melania? No.
Indeed. I'll pull 3 cards.
Yeah,
to see what comes up. Let's see. Yeah, that one. Melania. Let's have a look. And you can actually see it in Donald Trump's chart. He will be brought down by women. Whether it's it won't be Melania, but well, you never know. But whether it's Ivanka or female law enforcement, time and time again, when you look in his chart, it will be the women that step up. Oh, this is interesting.
Oh, what have you got, huh?
Here we go. So this is how she feels about the situation. Yeah. She's been like, oh my God, I'm embattled. I'm sick and tired. I've been with the Yeti for all these years. Yeah. Because we know that this card is about what? About an abuse of power. But ultimately, really what this is saying is, like, if we think of Melania, she's like, has the fight been worth it? Has it been worth? She's reflecting on her life and she's looking back at all the years and she's like, bloody hell, you know, I wasn't expecting this. Do you know what I mean? It's been a lot. And I would pay good money to be a fly on the wall to hear her 6 pence worth. And when she does a book, I'll probably read it. Now, this won't necessarily be a long book. It may be a A5 pamphlet, but whatever little is in there could be of interest. Yeah. But in regards to affairs, look what comes up. What's the Look at that. I know you can't make it up. We have the Knight of Cups, which is about what? Romance, isn't it? It's
Yes, yes.
romance. It's about some kind of romantic offer, some kind of, it does with the emotions, the relationships. Yeah.
Mm.
So she's been looking at this and she's been like, you know what? Time for a bit more of this in my life. Yeah.
I'd
Because
go as far as to say I think it's been going on for a very, 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 very long time. This could be the most recent. And I think that's
ah,
how she's dealt with it all these years.
right, exactly. Because while all of this Yeti stuff has been going on, she's been like, well, you know what? I'm going to look after myself, look after my body, and just have a little bit on the side.
Yeah.
And Trump, like you said, Trump's probably not been doing the magic for ages. And I think any rumors of him having affairs now are precisely that,
Yeah.
rumors to try and make out he's got some kind of prowess in that department. And then the
What
outcome
about
card
the
is
sorry, oh, look at that.
look at that. So obviously, this card is about what? Betrayal, yeah, betrayal and backstabbing and all this kind of stuff, which we know. But here we can also say that when this card comes reversed, it's about the swords falling out.
Mm.
So in a way, there is this element where Melania is like, if we look in these reverse cameras, just like you said, it's so tricky.
Yeah.
If we look at it this way, and I'm going to turn my lights down because I'm getting a bit too much reflection. Maybe that will help a little bit. There we go. There we go. So if we look at it this way, she has been relying on company to deal with all of this swords action in her marriage, in her life. And I think she's reached a point where she's like, well, you know what? I know my marriage is done. I just have to hold on for a little while. And then soon I'll be able to kind of divorce him and have these swords fall out of my back. What do you think on that?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think either of them thinks about the other person.
Mm,
You know what? You know what I mean? I think they both just have a train track marriage,
yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah.
And I
There's
don't
no,
think it's sophisticated or anything. It's just how it's worked out, you
yeah.
know.
I think she's there as sort of I think she was there happy to be the trophy, happy to play that role, of course, when she
Mm.
wasn't ripping off Michelle Obama's speeches. Blatant plagiarism. And you're just like, it seems her only achievements were basically wearing, there was that time where she had a bit of rebellion. You remember she wore that jacket and it
I
was
don't
talking
care.
about exactly
Yeah.
and tearing up the rose garden. That's been about it, really.
I know, and
For
she turned it into a pet cemetery. It's disgusting.
really terrible.
Just
Oh,
appalling. I'd like to steer you back to Saturn again for a minute
oh, yeah,
because
sure, sure.
rumours are entertainment channel only viewers, of course, you know
Yeah.
this, that there's been leaks from a Chinese nuclear reactor. And of course, they're saying, no, it was the tiniest little, no, you wouldn't even call it a leak. And it only went into the cooling pond or whatever. My
Mm,
issue is this, and maybe we could both read on it. The problem with nuclear power is those who support it and promote it, they always say it's clean energy. It is not clean energy because the residue lasts for 250,000 years. I would
yeah,
suggest to you that's not clean.
yeah.
And the reason they call it cheap energy is because they never allow for the cost of the cleanups or actually updating the reactors. A nuclear reactor
Mm,
has a 40 to 50 year shelf life. They're all 60 and 70 years old because it costs billions to
mm,
decommission them, which is almost
mm,
impossible, right?
yeah.
Now, France has 80% dependency or something. Can some viewer look that up, please? What percentage of
Wow.
French electricity is nuclear powered? It's a lot. And now with global warming and everything, the Pyrenees that used to be solid ice for most of the year are melting into the groundwater where it's all been going, etc.
So it's raising up the groundwater.
And I think we're going to see some issues with nuclear power.
Wow. Wow. So in terms of like planet Saturn, you're thinking like in terms of how that is influencing those things.
And Pluto, Saturn. Talk to us a little bit about Pluto, please, because I think that might be relevant.
Absolutely. Now, something that is really important. So let's flip here to one of my charts. As you know, I love to get the old A board out. So let's look.
Oh, good on you.
Let's look at the USA chart, which is one that we know well now.
Yeah.
And let's see. Let me see if I can get this. Oh, is this going to work? 1 minute. Let me just move this back here. And then let's do that. Aha. Okay, so we've got the important part that we can see. Let's get the wand going here.
Oh,
now, oh yeah,
that's
always
a
got
nice touch, Hogarth. Thank you for the wand.
No problem. So, okay, so this is the USA chart. Now, we can't see all of it, but we've seen it before in videos. I'll make sure I've got myself in there as well. But the most important thing...
Before you start, someone's response. Thank you, Raksha. According to this, the French have dependence 70.6% in 2019 of their electricity, and it's the highest in the world. They have the highest dependency on nuclear.
Wow.
Thank you for that.
Brilliant. Thanks for that information. Information. So if we look here, now there was what we need to pay attention to in astrology is when big planets come together, it means big statements about stuff. Saturn and Jupiter came together in a grand conjunction on the solstice, 21st of December, 2020. And what that meant was that there was going to be a global shift in all of the world's infrastructure. Saturn represents infrastructure and government of all kinds, but also old things. It means things that are infrastructure that is old needs what? A revamp. So if we think of like this whole thing with Biden's deal, etc., but it means infrastructure for the whole world. But Pluto was also involved. And Pluto is what? Power, energy, but nuclear power in particular. Now, what's happened here is Pluto is now in sidereal Capricorn. And when it was making the transition in sort of like early January 2020, I said on my channel, we need to watch out here because Pluto is going to be dragging the energy of the flying gripe, which is basically a type of eagle, but it was in the tail, which is what? The poop end. And the flying gripe also deals with the energy of war. So what happened is on the 1st of January, Pluto went into the second house of the USA chart, values, money, infrastructure, with the energy of the flying gripe. And what happened? I know. Went in with the energy of the flying gripe, and what did we have? The insurrection. So literally it brought that energy in, but Pluto is also power. Pluto also deals with plutocrats, oligarchs.
I love that. Yes.
Deals with dictators. And Capricorn is what? Government. So dictatorships, governments around the world are being shaken up. They're being churned. Pluto is like, Pluto is like the cat that comes in and drops a rat on your bed. A dead rat. And you're like, oh, yeah. So we're having all of this kind of dirt and dross come up. So if Pluto is power, Saturn is infrastructure, there needs to be a review of what? The power stations, the nuclear power stations, because Pluto was discovered in 1930 when we moved into the nuclear age. So they say when a planet is discovered, that's what it's primarily about. So 1930 was when Pluto was discovered. That's when we split the atom, when we went into the nuclear age. And we were dealing with mafia bosses, dictators, oligarchs. Yeah, this was pre-Second World War. So he does bring a lot of that energy. So yes, issues with power, power grids and systems. And that's how I knew that America would also be dealing with power issues too.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
Oh, thank you. So one of the things I wrote in a blog was that America will be dealing with issues to do with its power and cyber hacks. And what we had the Texas scenario where the power grid was knocked off. We've also had power attacks on that gas plant.
Yes.
And I think there's going to be more. I think so
too. And I said just an hour after the news broke on the Colonial Pipeline, I said there's a ransom involved and they're going to pay it. And then a month later, it was revealed, they paid it. And what did the hackers want? 4 million, like nothing. In big boys land, nothing. So, why wouldn't you make a lazy 4 mil if you've got those skills and you're living in a country and you haven't got much money yourself? Why wouldn't you use that technology? So I think some of it's ideological and others opportunistic.
Absolutely. And then when they're running for cover,
disastrous.
Exactly. And when they're running for cover, then they're getting protection because a certain Putinshka is quite happy for them to do what they're doing. My only concern, now I hope this doesn't come true, but this is only a concern. But one of the things, because Pluto is nuclear energy and Scorpio is espionage, and Mercury is involved with these eclipses, which is communications, electronic sabotage. The thing I worry about is, and this is why they've got to sort this out quickly, is what if someone holds a nuclear power station for ransom? Then what?
I'm sorry, I'm so old. I can remember this being a threat.
Not at all.
30 years ago, or actually more like 40. That's how long ago we were marching in the streets because what about the threat of a nuclear power plant being held hostage?
Wow.
And Australia pumps out the biggest uranium mine in the world.
Really? Wow.
So I'm so proud,
Wow.
Really? That's our contribution. It's shocking.
There you are.
Stupid. I saw a comment just fly through. New York has shut down the India Point nuclear power plant. Can someone confirm that? I'm not sure if I read it correctly. The Indian Point power plant near New York. Someone let us know.
Wow. Look at that. That's interesting. So what, did they want us to read on that?
No, I think they were just making a comment. So we'll see if they to us.
We'll see what happens. So I think we've got time for one more question, or one or two more questions. One that came in, and it's one that's on everyone's lips. So here we are. Will Barr face justice? Have you read on this already, or do you want? Shall we revisit?
Really, not for a long time. I'm happy to do that because I think he has a particular case to answer. He was in such a responsible role, Attorney General of the United States of America, and he just chose to be a malicious puppet for the cretinous, villainous Yeti.
Yeah.
Eternal shame upon his soul. So let us just see if there is going to be any retribution,
Indeed. Okay, Bill Barr.
Oh, okay. Here's a message from Gary Atkins. It's going to be demolished soon. Okay. So the United States is the largest producer of nuclear power, and France makes about 75% of its electricity from nucular energy. Just
there we are. So like a clarifier.
Now, this is what I mean, Gary. I'm going to speak to you, darling. They say, we're going to close down a nuclear power plant.
How?
They don't know how to do it properly or safely. And you can grow all the little memorial parks you like over the site. You have not dealt with closing down that machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, I've forgotten. What are we reading on? Bill Barr.
Bill Barr. Yeah, Bill Barr. Will he face justice?
I can't believe they haven't taken his license away, if nothing else. Why is he still walking around?
It's absolute insanity. Oh, this will make you are so gonna chuckle when you see.
Cool. Tell me what you've got. You go first.
Shall I go first? All right. Here we are. So Bill Barr's situation. Look at this. Oh dear. Yeah. He is trying. He's feeling embattled. He's trying to navigate his way through very tricky circumstances, but it also talks as well about someone who's tenacious. This guy is just pulling every string he can in the background, to try and basically keep himself afloat and keep himself out of jail. So what's the obstacle? Look at this. The Fool card, but reversed. So this intelligent man has basically jumped off the cliff with the Yeti. They met in the forests, and the Yeti convinced him to kind of jump off the cliff and like, follow me down here. Yeah, it's great down here. Oops.
Oh my God.
What's the next card?
And then you've got the card of the mercenary.
Exactly. So here we are. We've got the card of the mercenary, the loyal, someone who's loyal to the king. Yeah. But look, it's kind of gone. It's gone tits up, basically. Yeah. That's what's happened. We can just literally read it as that. This is the mercenary here, being loyal to Trump. He jumped off the cliff. Yeah. Exactly. And where did it get him? There we are. He's got a horse with 4 broken legs, or let's say 3 broken legs. Yeah. Sort of going round in circles. Yeah. And what's it all been about? Look, he's been here contemplating, planning, waiting for that ship to come in, that stuff, the plans made abroad, and I'm going to get this much money and this, that, and the other. Yeah, because he was hoping. Now, this is interesting. If we take this as an outcome card, look at this. We get the smug merchant. So what this suggests to me is that Barr, through his scheming, even though he made these mistakes, being the mercenary of Dr Lagrange, the Yeti, he has certain plans that are maturing and developing that he thinks are going to get him off scot-free. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen, but he certainly believes he can reach a point of satisfaction when his ships come in. How about that?
Yeah. Okay. You're not going to believe this too, right? Don't you love it when that happens? Exactly. Wow. He's embattled. He's doing the calculations.
Yeah, weighing it up,
right.
About the money.
The compromise that he made with, what's his face?
The Yeti.
The Yeti and Dr Lagrange, the greedy king, right. He made a compromise. He thought there was something in it. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not just power. So where does that leave him? It leaves him, I thought he'd sort of retreat. I think he's got one more fight left in him where he's going to go hard or go home, that thing where he's going to, or this is what you were saying, this is what he thinks he'll do. I don't know that he'll actually do it. He thinks if I go out, don't back down, take no prisoners, I'll take them all with me. If I go down, I'm all right. They can't touch me. I know everybody. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right. Accept it. No. That'd be a no.
Not looking all right.
Torn. I think he's almost bipolar. I think he has part of the day where he's one and then the other, or he's with certain people and he feels he can make it, and then he's on his own and he sort of knows instinctively he can't. I think he's in that state.
Wow. And what I did was I just did a split. Yeah. Sometimes I just split the deck in the middle. So here we are, and the other card that came out as well was the star. Yeah. And the third card.
My USA card.
His third card is Biden.
Biden.
So there is this element where he is trying to avoid an inevitable end of some kind.
That's it. Thank you.
That's really what it is.
What I mean. When he's up or when he's had a couple of drinks, not a problem. I can take this on. I'm untouchable. And then the little boy after dark going, I've blown this severely.
Severely. And he's like, oh my goodness. And he's thinking about his future and stuff like that. So
I don't know that he's got one, love.
Oh, indeed.
I mean, literally. I think this, not yet, but when it starts to really come down, I wouldn't be surprised if he took the exit option, frankly.
Yeah. Me too.
Not yet. Year 2, 3, when he's faded a bit. Because he's got nothing left. Once it really, really comes out. It must. Surely. We've been disappointed so often with the legal stuff, and there's got to be some wins on the board soon,
Just even by the law of averages,
exactly.
It has to happen. So it's fascinating. So can you believe an hour has just whipped by already? It's gone in a flash. So what I would say is, well, first of all, I think we definitely have to do this again, don't we? Because it's so much fun. We have to do this again. So when Lena and I are off camera, we'll have a little powwow to see when we can do the next one, because that was so much fun and the time just whipped by, and I think we really covered some important topics. I just want to say a thank you as well to everyone that joined us. Thanks so much for your comments. Of course, we couldn't read everyone's name out, otherwise it just ends up becoming about reading names, and we know that sometimes I've seen that on, it can be frustrating, let's put it that way. I'm not going to say anymore.
Georgie Moon is saying please don't go.
But time is time,
time
these
is
things,
time.
so.
But look, next time too, we'll get to a special segment that I would like to introduce to your channel, which is too much news, not enough gossip. So we'll have a little bit of gossip.
Perfect.
Or even a lot.
It is a deal. We will definitely do that. So for everyone, for now, it's a bye-bye for now, but we will be back. It was so much fun. We'll have a little chat off camera now.
Sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
But also, we will be better organised with the times next time. We'll make a supreme effort. I think when the maths class was on when I was a kid, I was out having cigarettes behind the toilets or something. So we have to organise the time. We'll get
the time right, but indeed. But thanks everyone for being so patient. Next time we'll get the time right. And until next time, everyone, thanks so much. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.